Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. At this current moment in time, we have been addressing the conflicts that has been really brewing around the world, right? Between BRICS and the US and the change in scenery around the financial system. And now we got hit with this on January 2nd. Breaking. Total US debt hits $34 trillion for the first time in history, putting the US debt up 100% since 2014. Do you guys remember the video clip that I played on the channel a few months back? It was actually, I want to say now, it's been a while because it was around like roughly March and April of 2023. And it was Janet Yellen mentioning that she is going to be printing a lot more money. Specifically, she said that the US will be printing upwards of $17 trillion over the course of the next 7 years. Their goal is to print upwards of $50 trillion in total debt by 2030. Think about that. We have about 16 trillion left to go, and it seems as though we are right on course with their goal. Now, the big problem is they asked her, they said, hey, if we are going to see this amount of money being printed, where are the buyers of the debt going to come from? And she couldn't have an answer because, again, who is going to be buying up the US debt? I mean, at this current moment in time, the largest buyer of US debt was Japan. Japan in 2023 faced a major problem. They were starting to weaken economically. And now we question who is going to buy US debt. Since the debt ceiling crisis ended in June of 2023, total US debt is up nearly $3 trillion. Since June of 2023, $3 trillion. Think about how insane that is. This debt balance is more than the value of the economies of China, Germany, Japan, India, and even the UK. We're not talking about separate entities here. This is combined. The US is now spending $2 billion per day on interest expense alone. Debt per capita is at a record high of $101,000. What's the long-term plan here? Since 2020, the US has added roughly $11 trillion in federal debt. That's a 48% jump in the federal debt balance in just 4 years. The worst part is that the debt ceiling is uncapped for the entirety of 2024. Guys, this is why I have mentioned many times on this channel that we are getting into the point of unstable times. The financial system that we know right now is in unstable times, which means that a significant change is going to happen. Now, a lot of people have talked about this and a lot of people have addressed it, including even myself. In a recent video, I talked about it. What is going to be the catalyst for the new system? That's the question that I asked. Now, a lot of people believe that it is going to be a blackout, right? They're going to have a major cyber pandemic because that's what the elites are calling it. What they're going to do is launch a cyber attack, the internet will go down, the blackout will hit, and then the system, when it reboots, will reboot into the new financial system. That's how a lot of people believe that this is going to go down. We don't know what's going to happen. All we know is that at this current moment in time, the current system that we are running on is facing the most pressure that it has ever faced. We have over here from Black Swan Capitalist 2024 forecast, rising demand for debt, intensified money creation, ongoing dollar debasement, higher inflation, risking an entire class of people. Meanwhile, XRP's full-scale global adoption and use case is becoming a reality as the final wealth transfer approaches. Check this out.
Wars are expensive. Wars cost money. We're already broke. Our military is certainly strong. And we're not going to cut our military budget. We're not going to cut entitlements. And this goes back, sadly, to the less humane issue of just markets. We're going to go into greater and greater debt. And we're going to have to issue more and more U.S. treasuries. We're going to have to debase our currency to support bond yields. And all these things are connected, as we said from the very beginning. Even geopolitics, crypto, risk assets, the currency markets, the bond markets, the rate markets, and bubbles and pops are all tied to debt. Wars are expensive.
Now, on this topic, we also have over here the BRICS nations drive for alternatives, followed by gold and silver, and then the last one, U.S. states make a bold move to reclassify gold and silver. This goes back to December 24th. Do you see everything aligning perfectly here? I keep mentioning it and I keep warning you guys about what's happening simply because I don't want you to miss out on this. Because the wealth transfer isn't us saying, all right, well, a crash is coming. Let me just hodl my dollars, right? No. What we are going to see is specific things of value. And when I talk about value, we're not talking about cryptocurrencies as a replacement to fiat currency. Anyone that is telling you that XRP or Bitcoin or Ethereum is going to replace the US dollar, unsubscribe, block them, and ignore them. Because that is not what we are here for. Cryptocurrency as technology is going to improve our financial system, and it's going to allow us to reset this debt system that we run on currently. The entire system runs on debt. In my opinion, what is going to be happening here is a push towards digital. They're trying to stress test, if you will, the current financial system, a system that is heavily dominated by paper processes. They need some sort of event to push us into this new age of finance. And that's a quote that I've been mentioning quite a bit on this channel. Over here, January 2nd, 25 new countries ready to join BRICS in 2024. This is something to watch for because as we do continue to see the BRICS moving against the dollar, they continue to expand. This is going to force a hand, and it's going to force the US's hand. Everyone has been focused on how the US has been strict against cryptocurrencies. They've been talking about how crypto's this, crypto's that, trying to push the light away from crypto. And the reason why I say this, right, in terms of like this wealth transfer and how we can get behind this, it's simply by investing in the technology, investing in the technology in this space that actually has use case value. Because why are they telling us to go against crypto? Why are they telling us avoid crypto? Crypto's a scam, crypto's this, crypto's that. It's because at the end of the day, as we start to see the big players from Wall Street, like BlackRock, Fidelity, you name it, they're diving into the space heavy. They're looking into the space heavy. They don't want you making money. They want Wall Street making money, which we have been talking about and addressing since the inception of the XRP lawsuit. Right now, there is a significant change happening around the world. And I think that it's so loud to the point that you can't avoid it at this point. BRICS is becoming a dominant force. Anyone that is telling you that BRICS is not becoming a dominant force is not paying attention to what just happened over the last 48 hours. We're talking about the largest energy players out there joining the BRICS. Everything is changing. And it's starting with the idea of moving against the US dollar and the US dominated systems like SWIFT. Now, beyond this, like I said, some sort of event needs to happen. We don't know what that's going to be. Is it going to be a 2008-like crash? Is it going to be a cyber attack? We don't know, but I do believe that they have been telling us a little bit of what they're trying to plan. ECB, this is the European Central Bank. They just recently mentioned that this year, in 2024, we will conduct our first thematic stress test on cyber resilience to determine how well 109 banks we supervise would respond to and recover from a cyber attack. The main findings will be communicated in the summer of 2024. And here we have the stress test, 109 ECB supervised banks to be stress tested on cyber attack response and recovery. Scenario assumes banks hit by successful cyber attack that disrupts their daily operations. Supervisors to discuss findings with each bank during regular supervisory review processes. Now remember, right? Why am I talking about cyber attacks? Because the World Economic Forum, which is one of the largest puppeteers, and when I say that, they are an elite organization that really moves everything. They have BlackRock on their partner list. They have hundreds and thousands of big players tied to the World Economic Forum. They are the ones that really move things. They are the ones that are in control of almost everything you see. They have been talking about a cyber pandemic for the last roughly 4 years. And just recently, they predicted that we could very well see one this year. Now, will that happen? We don't know. We got to be prepared for it. But I do believe that over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, significant changes are going to happen and events are going to push us even further and quicker into this new world of finance, aka CBDCs, DLT, blockchain-driven payment processes. And also remember what I just recently said. The movie, Leave the World Behind, for anyone out there that watched this, I'm sure that you guys probably already know where I'm headed with this discussion. This movie is heavily focused on what would happen and how things will work if a cyber attack hit globally. Now, obviously, does this movie stretch realism a little bit? Is it more so drama filled, things like that? Yeah, 100%. But why is this movie that is funded by elites, we're talking about the Obamas, it's funded by individuals that are tied to the World Economic Forum after hearing about a cyber pandemic and cyber attacks for the last couple years. All of a sudden this comes out at a time where we're now seeing the BRICS moving heavily. We're seeing the US dollar being dropped. We're seeing the ECB and major central bankers now talking about stress tests around cyber attacks. It's just very interesting. And I don't believe in coincidences. And they do try to tell us things before things really do happen. This, in my opinion, is a big hint. I think we should be looking into this a little bit more. I think that we should take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, it's still a movie, but I still think that there is some facts to this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. And last but not least, we just seen a big announcement from Nigeria. Big shout out to Buy the Crypto Dip. This is Africa. Huge. Nigeria to end practice of using central banks to fund deficit. We've posted about Africa a lot as it is the birthplace of the fourth industrial revolution. Ending the practice of taking debt from central banks, aka the evil Rothschild family, is huge. It means the corrupt central banks no longer have power in Nigeria. And here we have Nigeria to end practice of using central bank to fund a deficit. You can actually see that they borrowed at least $33 billion from its central bank. It will stop using the widely criticized practice to fund its budget deficit. Finance Minister Wael Adun said, "We are bringing order to government borrowing," he told reporters during the signing of the 2024 budget. So this is pretty big. When we talk about this, again, we're starting to see major moves against central banks, which is crucial to mention at this current moment in time, especially how 93% of them are moving heavily towards digital. I do think that a lot of these events are leading us down that path to really kind of focus on the big connections to the digital players and the digital giants right now. And one of those players is obviously Ripple, which we've been talking about. But also over here, going back to November 8th, is when we've seen this big announcement. Is Africa not full of the table of elements/commodities? Africa will be the birthplace of the fourth industrial revolution because they are the least industrialized of any continent and the most enslaved. Think tokenization of their commodities and sell their products to the world. Africa is worth trillions of dollars in these elements, and they have the most room to grow from a financial system that allows them to sell directly to anyone worldwide. There are no middlemen, France and other rich countries, to take a cut and enslave Africans in those mines. How much gold, silver, iron, lithium, think EVs, aluminum, diamonds, are being tokenized now. Source below. The fourth industrial revolution starts in Africa, which is why it was so important to them to expel France. Watch Africa thrive. And again, a lot of these areas I have been focusing on as well. It's very easy to have the revolution start in these smaller areas that are not well industrialized. Over here, November 8th, Ripple, Onaf Freak, partner for new payment corridors for Africa, UK, Australia, and even the Gulf. This enables faster, cheaper payments between 27 African countries working with 3 Onaf Freak partners. And this was a big one, especially considering the fact that this is all moving towards real-time settlement utilizing on-demand liquidity. This was a huge announcement that we focused on during that time. And it is still even huge to mention now because of the major players that are connected to this, including, of course, the UK, Australia, and even the Gulf. So pay attention to this. Pay attention to what is actually happening here because these are the significant moves being made and the events that you probably should be focusing on. But at the end of the day, one big takeaway from this is, what are the elites really planning here? Because we know that they've been talking about cyber pandemics. They've been talking about cyber attacks. They've been also talking about the DLT revolution, utilizing blockchain, the digital revolution. Everything will be digitized, basically. And now we're starting to see the BRICS moving heavily. Is this a psyop, right? Is the BRICS moving heavily? Is everything happening around the BRICS just a distraction? Is it something that is going to accelerate the new system? In my opinion, it is. I've been talking about it. But at the end of the day, we know that currently speaking, our current financial system, it is absolutely getting slaughtered because of inflation and the constant printing that doesn't seem to be looking at slowing down at all. Like I said, Janet Yellen, the Treasury, they already mentioned that they're going to print to $50 trillion within the next 7 years, now 6 years. You cannot afford to keep hodling dollars at a time where they continuously want us to lose 2%. That's the Fed's inflation target, 2%. They want you and me to lose 2% on our money. Think about how insane that is. So at the end of the day, make sure that you are aware of this. Make sure that you are educating yourselves on getting away from the dollar, investing into other assets, diversifying your wealth. Of course, yes, everyone should save some money on the side, but at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you are diversifying because it seems as though the world of fiat currency is coming to a little bit of a close and a halt. And when I say that, fiat currency will always be around, but it's going to be in different forms. I don't believe that we are going to remain in a paper-based system any longer. Everything is moving towards digital. This is why we do focus on CBDCs and tokenize things of value. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome. Follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.